Hello, hello. I am streaming through Zoom, so I'm just making sure that I'm hooked up here. Just give me a few moments. Okay, just checking if you can hear me. Hello, hello. If you can hear me, I know there's somebody watching out there. Let me know that you can hear me, please. I'm connecting through Zoom, so I'm just making sure that this is working properly. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead. I think this is happening. Okay, hello, how's everyone doing? I'm just gonna introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. I know there's some new people who joined the group, so welcome. I'm Venus. I'm a transformational teacher and divine soul activator who help divine souls who are ready for a transformation to release the stress and drain of energy that's not yours so you can fully embody your true divine nature, own your power, and activate your radiant soulful self. So welcome to tonight's mini training. We are going to talk about, okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Leo. We're going to talk about the key frequency upgrade you need so that you can live a more vibrant and purposeful life. So again, this is something that I feel like a lot of us really know, but to actually put into action on a day-to-day is really the key here. And we're going to talk about the 3 critical shifts in order to embody this upgrade. So what you must do is think in terms of energy. You know, everything is energy. So think in terms of frequency, vibration, energy. The number one thing that creates your world is your thoughts, right? So your thoughts are magnetic. They create an energetic frequency that manifests in physical form, like in your immediate surroundings. So one really good way to think about it is like your thoughts are a blueprint of your reality. And we can take your home as a really good example, right? So if you take a look at your home and notice what's around you, you know, do you feel like you're surrounded by beauty or do you feel like you're surrounded by clutter, right? So your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, right? And everything that you put into your home is there because you had thought about it and you made it happen, right? So let's take, for example, like a toaster, right? Let's say you have a toaster, you wanted to just buy a toaster just to be able to toast your bread. Or maybe you decided to buy a toaster oven. The toaster oven does a little more than just toast bread. It can bake, it can broil. There's all these different functions and knobs that help you go into a little detail of what you want to do. It's kind of the same thing with your thoughts, right? And how you attract things into your world, right? So what is it that you want to experience in the world? How do you go about the world on a day-to-day level? You know, what is it that you think about? What are the quality of your thoughts? So do you find yourself complaining all the time? Do you find yourself in victim mode where everything happens to you, where you just blame everyone and everything for the events that happen to you in your life? Or are you someone who makes a conscious choice and decides what you want to have happen to you, you know, taking responsibility for your actions, you know, and claiming that, you know, being able to feel empowered through that. You know, what is it that you fixate on? And most likely those things that you fixate on will show up in your world, right? So, you know, energy is energy. It just is. It's not good or bad. It doesn't decide, it doesn't define itself as good or bad. It just is, right? So for example, when we think about negative energy, you know, it vibrates at a lower vibration and leads us to have negative emotions, you know, and so that eventually, you know, starts to cut off your life force energy supply. You know, so you're cutting off that supply, and the longer that you cut that supply off, the more your physical body will begin to deteriorate and become ill. So your body's a reflection of your thoughts too. And when you're out of alignment, negative energies, when you're feeling out of alignment from your true divine nature, from your true self. So alternatively, positive thoughts are a high vibration and expands your energy and makes you feel good and really increases your health and well-being, right? And so you start to attract the high vibrational frequency things in your world. So when you sense something off in your energy and you start to feel negative or you start to feel down, emotionally, that is your energy telling you, it's a signal telling you that something's off and that you have the choice to do something about it. So it's not that things are happening to you, it's a signal that things are just off for whatever reason and that you can do something about it. So, we're talking about like attracts like. We're talking about the law of attraction. We are familiar with the law of attraction, right? So when you feel low, when you feel negative, you are emanating that vibration into the world. So like our thoughts create an emotion within us. These emotions contain a vibrational frequency, a wave that flows throughout our entire being, through the cells in our body, and we radiate that out into the universe. And then what we do is we attract the same vibrational being and experiences, based on how we feel, So you are able to attract what you want. It's just a matter of what it is that you want to attract. And you have the power to change that at any time. Your thoughts are very, very powerful. So this brings us to our next critical point, which is to be able to define what it is that you want versus what you don't want, right? So when you fixate on what it is that you don't want, remember, you are bringing that into your vibrational field. You're bringing that energy to you. So when you fixate on what it is you want, you're bringing that to you. So I want you to think about the things that you want, or think about what it is that you want, and feel free to type in the comments, let me know what it is that you want. Okay. And so when you think about really what those things are, those things really just make you feel good. It's really what you ultimately want to do and feel in the end are those things and those feelings that make you feel good about yourself, right? It's really about being able to connect with that positivity, feeling those sensations in your body when you feel good, right? Your body is vibrating at a higher level. And you just want to keep it simple. You don't necessarily have to be specific of what it is that you want. You just want to tune into things, to what it is that makes you feel good. Okay, so for me, for example, the things that make me feel good, I like to think about the Caribbean. I love Tulum. It's been such a long time since I've been there, but being by the Caribbean Sea, sitting in white sands, smelling the salty air, hearing the waves crash, seeing a beautiful sunset, beautiful colors of the sunset, and feeling, just feeling at peace, so just even talking about it right now, I mean, I just love it. It makes me feel so good, and that's what you want to do. You want to just connect to whatever those images, those memories, even a certain smell, if you love the smell of chocolate, or maybe it's a certain kind of food that you like to eat, those things that really connect you to feeling good and being able to remember those things, writing these things down. Journaling is a very powerful way to help you build that foundational sense of feeling good and positive. Sometimes we tend to forget because life gets busy, we get stressed out, we get pulled in different directions. So when you come back to those things that you wrote about what makes you feel good, you remember and you're like, oh yes, that's right. These are the things, and helps you come back to yourself. Those words, vibrate at a higher level. So you always want to feel connected to what makes you feel good, because the more that you build upon this feeling, the more good experiences you attract into your life, and then the more you actually believe it to be true. So you actually manifest what you believe, not necessarily what you want, it's what you believe. So really think about that, right? So you could be, let's say, you tend to, like you just have a bad like experience with dating, like you just tend to have bad dates for whatever reason, right? And you keep attracting the same person, someone that you don't really want to be with. There's just something about the person you attract, and you're like just not into them, and then you just start to believe that that is what you deserve, because you're in that cycle of like attracting the same person over and over again. Just making sure that I'm live here. Okay. So yeah, you keep attracting the same kind of person. You don't know why. It's because you are fixated on what it is you don't want on some level, right? And you're fixating that, you're bringing that into your world, but you can start to change that by being aware that you want to tune into the things that you do like about yourself, that you do love about yourself, and be able to break that habit. So, I want to share a personal story about what led me to become a transformational teacher. And, I was somebody who, um, was pretty sensitive to, the people around me and to the environment that I was in. I tended to, pick up a lot of energy that wasn't mine. I had a hard time differentiating my energy from another person, and really started to weigh me down. And I got sick a lot because of it. I took on other people's stuff. I took in like the work environment. It made me feel really like stuck and heavy. So I really wanted to get out of that cycle of feeling sick all the time. And I really wanted to feel good, and really wanted to keep tuning into the energy that I knew I had and was capable of having. So that is what led me to find my teacher, actually. And she helped me break that pattern of that cycle of getting sick and absorbing other people's energy, and being able to build upon my own inner strength by focusing on what it was that made me feel good and multiplying that energy. So it is possible. You just have to, first of all, be aware and understand that you have the ability to shift what you're thinking about. Stop fixating on the things that make you feel bad, or what you don't want versus what you do want. I wanted to feel more energy. I wanted to feel better about myself. And that made me seek out that in my life. And now I am able to share this with others, and, I feel very inspired on a day-to-day basis, but you have to be aware that you're in that place, and to get yourself out of that vibration. You're sitting in that vibration. Your energy field is full of your thoughts and your emotions and what you believe to be true. And then again, you're drawing in the same experiences, because like attracts like. Okay, so this brings us to our third key shift, which is very important. And this is what ties it all together. And really, I feel like this is the first and foremost thing that we really need to focus on. But it's taking action, being committed to take action, and to put into practice what you already know, right? You know that your thoughts are made of energy. You know that you're the creator of your universe, and that you can make things happen at any time, because you do that already. We came into this world, with the ability to create. That's why we came here, was to create and expand our consciousness, and to be able to grow, and to actually, help each other, right? To help each other grow. And so it's not about what you know, it's about how you take action. It's about what you do, So, I mean, there are a lot of people out there, for example, who know that they need to stretch more, or that they know they need to drink water more, or that they need to stop watching so much TV, or, to get more sleep, or to be more gentle on themselves. I like to talk about that. But are they really doing that? Are they really implementing that in their day to day? That is the key, is to be able to keep practicing it. Not just once a day, which is great. Definitely you want to be able to just like work your way up, but really you have to be consistent about it. Not just in the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, maybe throughout the day. It's really got to hone in and be deliberate on your intention of feeling good, seeking out the things that make you feel good about yourself, thinking the things that make you feel positive, and it can start very small. Make it very simple, before really trying to map out like what it is you want to do with your life, and then feeling the pressure of like doing something with your life, because that's not going to get you anywhere. You need to start with just tapping into what makes you feel good. Like I was talking about the Caribbean. Oh, I just love thinking about the sea. That brings me to a place of feeling good, vibrating high, high vibrations, whatever, I'm talking about. And from there, it's that journey of feeling good that brings about more good energy into your life and brings about more positive experiences into your life. It's that journey that will actually allow you to be more specific on what it is that you do want, and will eventually lead you to your purpose. My cat is saying hi in the background. So it's about, the things that make you feel good, so you can feel more vibrant on the day to day, putting it into action, making that commitment. It's about making that commitment so that you can get to that place of feeling good about yourself. So we're just going to recap here on the 3 shifts in order to really embody this upgrade in your life, feeling more vibrant and purposeful on the day to day. So what you need to do first and foremost is to be aware that you are the attractor of your experience. You have the ability to magnetize what it is into what you want into your life, all of the things, right? And you need to define what it is that you do want. The second thing, define what makes you feel good. Journal about it. Connect to it often. That is the third key shift, is to take action. Take action and be committed to practicing what it means to feel good. And when you are committed, that is when you are able to see real change in your life. So I hope all of this resonated with you. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you are ready to make that shift and live with more vibrancy, and to live with more ease and inspiration, and releasing that low vibration, releasing what keeps you stuck, then I invite you to book a vitality chat with me, and we can map out a plan so we can get you there. All right. So it was wonderful to join you tonight. Thank you for making the time for yourself. And I hope to talk with you soon. All right. Have a beautiful rest of the week. Bye-bye.